Hello friends, how are you? So in today's class we are going to talk about how we can provide CSS styles to any HTML page, and mainly we are going to talk about their priorities. Like when one element can have more than one style, which style is going to work actually. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So I will be taking a very simple example. We're just taking maybe one element, and then we'll wanna see that how we can understand the concept. So let us start building. So I'm going to create HTML file here. So let it be like say HTML dot, and then I want to create a CSS file. So I'm giving the same name CSS.css, and let us start building some content. So CSS styles, and then we want to link that file here. So the name of the file is css.css, and you can see it should come automatically when you're working on Visual Studio. And I'm going to take just a div element here, so no information inside it. First of all, we'll talk about that what are the different styles provided to this element specific, and then later on we'll talk about the priorities. So we have this element here, and let us go to CSS and build some basic styles. So maybe height 300 pixel. You can also take in percentage if you want to, and then width maybe 300 pixel, and then I want to do some background is still light green, and then I want to have some margin here, maybe 50 pixel auto. Now whenever you use this auto, it automatically make your left and right margin to the center of this area of your output screen. So remember, when we do margins and we have two values, the first value indicates your top and bottom margin, and second means your left and right margin. So auto means automatically it is adjusting to the middle of the screen that we have there. And we already have the background, and let me have some border, and I want to give it border radius. Maybe deliberately I'm giving it 150 pixel, because when the border radius is half of the dimension of any element, then automatically it will be circle shaped. So like you do 150, 160, so it will be in the form of some circle. Okay, so we have something here. Let us see how it works. So you can open it in a browser, or you can open it in a live server if you already have installed it. So this is the output so far. You have this object created here, and you can see it's in a circular in shape. And you know that the kind of styles that we have provided, they are external. External styles are that we are linking any CSS file to existing web page, and that's what we recommend mainly, that we should create the CSS file separately so that it does not conflict with our HTML contents. And it's very easy to design such web pages and easy to maintain those. And later on, if you want to make some changes, you don't have to go through the whole HTML page and make changes. You can just look into your CSS and make the modifications. So anyways, we are talking about the different styles. So you know the style that we have given is internal right now. Oh, sorry, external. Let us talk about the inline. So for inline, we take style tag, and normally we do it in the head section, again just for the better understanding of the web page. It should be in the head section. Otherwise you can place it somewhere in the body section as well, still it will work fine. But the only problem is later on, if you have to make changes to that CSS style, and say assume your web page is having like say 10,000 line of code, it will be very difficult for you to figure out that where that style section is and what changes you should make. One more thing is there, you can have these styles as many times as you want to, but again it is not recommended, only due to the problem of readability, understandability, and later on the maintenance issues are there. So let us go with this div. And I will not make much changes. I just want to keep on making some changes to background. So background before was light green. I want to say now background is light blue. Now these styles, they are internal. And normally we know that internal, they have higher priority. So when you go back now, and let me see that. Yes, so just refresh it. You see, this has changed to light blue now. Okay. So that means your internal style, they gained the priorities now. So external style, they are no more working. But there is also one thing that you need to know here is that what about if I have this file linked somewhere? Say I don't link it here, but rather I link it in the body section here. So when the browser will look into this web page, it will start interpreting the contents from top to bottom. And it sees that yes, this div has some styles here and background is light blue. But when it comes down to this line number 16, it knows that we are linking something here, and then it will go back to the styles, start reading styles from there, and then it sees there is some overlapping styles, background. So the recent style, they will always work. So it is going to look into now, it's light green. So your output should be light green again. So let me try to show you the output. Say I want to keep it on live server. So let us play it on live server. You see, it is light green now. So internal, normally the way we program, it should have higher priority than external. And the way is that any linking that you wanna do should be in the head section before you start with the internal styling. So let us go back to this. So we have the styles here. Now this is internal style, and I'm going to third type of style, that's your inline. So this is how we do inline style. So we say here again now background is, and I will say the background here is say brown. Now you can see this particular element div, it has three types of style. One is external, which the color we said was light green. Then we have internal, which says the background is light blue. And then finally we have one more style, it says the background is brown. So this is called inline style. And inline, they have the highest priority if you are writing the contents or you are coding in a way that it should be coded. Like external linking should be done at the top, then internal styling should be done in the head section, and then in the body section you can do inline style. So if you follow this pattern, then obviously the inline style will have the highest priority. So in this case, when you run it, you should see the color is brown, and that's coming as a result of priorities. Okay, but there is one more thing here, students. Like when you actually get into the web programmings, and sometimes you're getting these styles dynamically, like you have some form from where you're asking user to enter some inputs, and based upon those inputs you want to decide about what should be the background. For example, say you're making a web page which basically talk about say medical reports. So you say that if blood pressure is within the range where it should be, then you are giving the background color as green. Otherwise, you are giving background color maybe like orange or red, means alarming color. So because those values are basically coming from the form and they might get changed over time. So there could be some cases where you want to make sure that whatever may be the input, the style should be frozen, means this should not change at all. So for that we have a keyword which basically override all the priorities. So how we do it? For example, I want to say that whatever may be the condition, the background should always stay light green. So what I will do here, with this I write important. That means this particular style is important. Now what the system is going to do, your browser will look into this style, and after that for the div element it will never read the background because we already said this is important. Now you can see the color should be green. So this is about the priorities of inline, internal and external styling. We normally say that inline has the highest priority, then internal, then external. But these priorities, they can always be changed by using this keyword, which we call here important. We don't use it that often, but somewhere if you want to freeze some styles, you don't want that they should be changed accidentally, then you can use this word. Okay, now there is another thing that we want to talk about. I just want to make a different file now. So save as, and let me make another file. And I'm going to make another CSS file here. So let us name it as CSS2. Okay, so this is HTML2 and I'm going to link that CSS2 file here, and then I want to remove this all. We'll talk about something different now. So let's remove this all. And as I told you that we should always have only external styles as far as possible, and the only reason for that is just to create clean coding. So we should not have spaghetti code. We call it spaghetti when we have the mixture of code, like you see HTML, you see CSS, and JavaScript, or even some other languages. Then we call it like a mixture of code. That's very easy to, sorry, that's very hard to manage later, especially when you want to make changes. It's very difficult. You have to go to every page and make changes there, and the more changes you make, there is a high probability that it will come across with many errors. Okay, so let us go to this CSS and talk about something here. So you know that right now the style which we are providing, I'm using the same style, students, by the way, same file. So right now the style which are working is, they are our tag styles. Tag style means where we just write the name of the tag. So we have written the name of the tag, and then it will go to that element. Second is we can do styling with the help of class. So I will say no, its class is, say, let it be say div1. Okay, we are going to say that div and class is div1. Now class has higher priority than tag selectors, and you can understand it in a way that we are going towards more specialization when we move from tag to class. So specialized element will have more higher priority. So let us come to this point now, and whenever you have to start with any class styles, the name of the class will be starting with the dot operator. This is div1, and you have to write here dot div1, and please make sure this is case sensitive. Okay, so you cannot write uppercase, lowercase. It will perfectly match with this name here. So we have div name, and now again I'm going to use the same thing. So I'm going to say background should be, say, let it be red. Now because the class has higher priority, for this element these styles will work. So if you go back, you can see the color is red. Sometimes you might think that possibly it has happened because the styles, they are appearing after these styles, the top we have here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just cut it from here and paste it here. You will still see it will not make any difference. That means the styles of class have higher priority than the styles of tag for the same element. Okay, so this is the class styling. And then we have another one that's called ID. So let's say we have to given this ID, and we also give it ID, say div1. Now ID is very specialized element now, so it has the highest priority. So div1. Now what I'm going to say, I will say background should be, say, let it be blue. Okay, so background is blue. So in this case, you know that when I see this element div, it has three identification, means this element can be reached three different ways as far as the CSS selectors are concerned. You can use tag selector, which style are here, and then we can use class selector. You can see the class selectors are here starting with the dot sign, dot symbol, sorry. And then we have a id selector. It starts with a pound operator. Okay, and you can also see the only styles which are overwritten or which are overlapped, they are the conflicting style or which are common. So the height and width is not changing because that's with the tag selectors, but other things they will change. So in this case you should see the color is blue because id has the highest priority. So this is again another way of checking it, that how we can decide the priorities. Now, sometime I come across with the questions. Say, what happens if I have this ID as I say div2? Now, this is very bad programming because whenever we are doing any web programming, please make sure one element should have only one ID, and it need to be unique on that specific web page. So you must not have two elements with the same ID, because the browser is not going to check on it. I will show you that also. Okay, so let us see this. We have this div2, and say I give some style to div2, just copying this. So just copy it and I write here below. And students, you can always change their order, doesn't matter. Okay, you can type them at the top also. So I'm going to say the color is say gray. Now you will see you will never get color gray. So go back, color will still be blue. The reason for that is, as I told you, whenever you have defined any attribute of HTML tag, if you try to redefine it, the browser is not going to look into second attribute or a setting attribute and its value. For example, this time it is not going to look into div2. So if you really want to see, cut it from here and bring it at the beginning. Okay, so now you will see the color should be gray. You see the color has changed to gray because it read the property at one time and then it ignored the second property. Okay, so you need to be careful in understanding about this concept, how they work. Now let us face it right now. And then just think of, we have another class. So I will go to say class as div2. Obviously, you know that whenever we have two classes, again, it's not going to look into second class. And how I can check it? So let us go to class number div2. So we have a div1 here. I'm just going to copy it. And I will say I have another class which name with div2, and it has maybe like say, let it be having some border. So I will say border, and then I will say 2 pixel solid red. Let me take a different color, so maybe a teal, just to differentiate. So what I'm going to do, I'm assuming that we have two classes, div1 and div2. Div1 is responsible for the background and div2 is responsible for border. So students, again you can see, I'm just taking very simple example here, but otherwise it might contain good number of styles, each of these classes. Okay, so go back now. You should see that border should never appear here. So you don't see any border. The obvious reason for that is it's not going to look into the second class. And if you want to see the border, what you will do, just cut it from here and bring it to the beginning. And then you should see now there should be a border. I want to check it why it's not working. Hold on. So I say class is div2 and I have class div2 solid teal. Border 2 pixel solid teal. What's not there? Should have appeared. 2 pixel solid div1 and div2. It looks fine to me. So class is div2 and then after that we have class div1 and class div2 should work because we are not overwriting here. Yeah, that's all looks fine. Div2 should have taken style from here. Div2. Just want to make sure everything is, yeah, it's always, you can also keep it on autosave. So just want to check it should have worked. No, it's not showing me. I have to check this, students. And no, I think it's there. The only thing is the color is so close to the color we have taken. So I'm sorry about this. Let me take, either you increase the width, like I'm going to increase width here 10 pixels. You will be able to see now. So you can see this is the wider color that you see. Now that means your second style is working from the class. Okay. Now in many times what you want that some style should come from class 1, some style should come from class 2. Then how we can do it? So the way we can do it, we can define two classes. How? So see here. You write here div1 space div2. Now both the classes will work. So whenever you think there are multiple classes, you have to write it div1 and div2. So for the time being, wherever I see the ID, I wanna just silent it for a while. So we have this div IDs. I'm going to just make a comment so that we could see how they're actually working. So you can also see here block comment. Okay. So we did the commenting. Now let us go back and see how it's working. So you can see the both styles are working. This background is coming from div1 and the border is coming from div2. So both the styles are working. Okay, now I'm going a little forward. Let's say assume we have this div1 and then we have background red and then we have this div2. I also take one more background here. So background, I say the background is, let it be yellow. So we need to see how the priorities are decided. Okay, so does it depends upon how they appear here or does it depend upon how they are called here? Okay, so just for your understanding, I'm changing their order. I'm saying this is div2 and that's div1. So I just want to tell you that this order does not matter. It simply says that we have two classes which probably taking care of this element. That's it. Their order does not matter. How they appear here, it matters. Like in this case, div1 comes before div2. That means the background in this case need to be yellow because that will be overwritten. Okay, so you go back, you see the background is yellow. Now, if I change this order, I say this is div2, I want to take it on the top. Then you should see the background should be red in that case. So you go back and you can see the background is red. So this is, but we can talk about the priorities of styling. So how ID, class, and tag style they work. And then we know about how external, internal, and inline style work. And we also studied about that how we can freeze some styles. And at the later stage in our example 2, we discussed about how we can incorporate multiple classes or link multiple classes to single element. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much.